Hello, everybody. Welcome to Monarch Family Chiropractic's workshop tonight on foam rolling. I am Dr. Kristen. I love teaching this one, and I hopefully will bring a little bit of new twist and mix and maybe some just different information that you may have never heard. But foam rolling is foam rolling, and I think that it's super great to incorporate into your healthcare and self-care regimen. It's a really important one for us to be engaging our loosening of our fascia and getting good blood flow into our body. So it's great to add in with your adjustments. It's great to add in with your muscle work, your muscle care, your workouts, your yoga routine, things that help stretch and elongate things other than just muscle. So we can work on the fascia, we can work on the muscle tissue and the adhesions that come within that muscle tissue. So a lot of people ask, what are the benefits? Well, there's muscle pain relief as a benefit. It can really help reduce the soreness, especially after a workout. It's really great for improving flexibility. So when we're rolling, it can help increase the flexibility or range of motion of a muscle and release the adhesions or the like scar tissue that gets built up in the fascia. Sometimes that's in the muscle belly and tissue itself, and sometimes it's in the tendinous or ligamentous tissue. Or connecting of the muscle tissue to the bone. So foam rolling allows kind of built up scar tissue in the muscles to be broken up. It allows at the same time to increase again that blood flow within the muscle, and it's really providing the muscle more nutrients and oxygen as we do that. So those are some key components to the benefits, what we want to use them on, why we use them. And then as we go into other benefits of foam rolling, is there any I missed there? Can really ease in pain and soreness, oxygen blood flow, ranges of motion, really aids in muscle recovery too. So thinking about it's helping decrease the lactic acid that's built up in the muscle, and that can be the part that just makes our muscles burn or that are achy. So that's a great a tool to flush some of that out. People ask a lot also about how often we should foam roll and what type of foam rollers to use. So I'm going to just cover those first and then go through a few motions that are my favorites that I like to use on a daily basis and definitely weekly basis. And again, we've done 3 or 4 workshops over the last year or two, covering different ways to foam roll, areas to foam roll. So there are multiple ways you can reach out onto our YouTube page to see our other foam rolling workshop and to see other areas if I don't cover it today. So I want to make sure I mention that so that you don't think this is the only tips and tricks we've given on foam rollers. So there are things for advanced and beginners and intermediate users. And so I say that because we haven't done every workshop the same for that reason. And there's different foam rollers. And some of the workshops we've done kind of cover more of the different types. But in talking about them in brief, there are more deep tissue foam rollers and ones that are for more advanced foam rolling for people that this is not their first handful of times using one. And it's not for somebody who has really any other types of injuries or concern in getting up and down from the floor and different motions. So I'm going to step outside my view for a second to grab an apparatus and just to get in front of me what we want in front of me. And there's different, so we want somebody non-injured using ones, here it is, that may have more of the ridges on them or more of the bumps on them. So this is not one I would necessarily have a beginner use, but it is a great tool for getting onto the trigger points more and releasing some of those tense adhesive spots. So more advanced roller would be one that has the ridges or has the bumps on them like this, the raised areas on it. And they tend to be much firmer too. So that's going to be for somebody more advanced, somebody that's definitely doesn't have any injuries or sprain strains or overuse stuff that they're dealing with at the time. So you can use this very similar to the ways I'm about to show you, but I'm not going to show you on an advanced roller. I'm going to show you on more of a beginner roller. Okay. Other ways with a softer foam roller is ideal for beginners. There we go. Ideal for beginners. And this is my favorite size. It is about 36 inches, so 3 feet long and 4 inches in diameter. You can do the 6-inch diameter ones, and I don't have my big one in here, but I have my small one. This is great for travel, for packing in our gym bag, taking with us maybe for a long weekend or camping trip or somewhere where it's super light. It's just going to take up a little bit of space, but it gives that thicker diameter too if someone wants to be just further off the ground. You just can't do as many areas with these little shorties. But again, you can move them around and do a lot with something small. You just have to maneuver it more. If you're using it more for the spine and for longer areas of the body, it's really nice to not have to hold parts of you up while you use this in other parts. So the ones I'm going to show you, because I want to be doing as much with as little amount of time as I have to. As time has gotten more precious as a mom, I realize I need to incorporate things in a timely fashion and get as much done as I can in a workout or in a stretching routine or in yoga or in meditation. And so when I use this roller, I don't have to switch it out to do anything else. I can do everything on a longer one. So that's my preference. Again, just to be able to do more with less apparatus. What would be another component for, I guess the firmness of it can matter. These aren't as firm as they may feel when you first get on them. So if you get to a point where using one that the foam isn't as rigid and dense, then you can build up to a more dense foam. And they usually label them that way when they sell them, that it's a thicker, it's a denser foam. You can buy anything, as we all know, on the internet now, and through different avenues. These do the trick. They're very great for beginners and intermediate, and I've been rolling for years, and I don't feel like I need a firmer foam roller. I just may use a different apparatus for certain things that we covered in one of our other workshops about what are the other tools. So I'll show a few of those others to you here for a second before we get on the floor and practice. And with that said, I haven't had to go to a firmer foam roller necessarily to get into anything deeper than this already does. But if you want the firmer ones, you can certainly find firmer. If you want more intense, and again, no injuries, you can use the ones that have the knobs on them. There's something else I was going to say about that and this density of the foam. But most of the time, I guess my tip on purchasing them is I don't see the need to pay $40, $50, $60 for a piece of foam that's just been dyed a color and has an emblem on it, you know? So you want to buy something that has a yoga emblem or a Nike swoosh or something, you're going to pay a premium. And there's no difference in what the foam, in my opinion, in 20 years of doing this, does. So you can get foam like this for 20, 25 bucks and get the bigger pieces, and they'll last you a good long time. I'm just getting into buying a new one for the house, for the one I've probably used for 7, 8 years, because it's now getting some fun use with the kiddo, and it is you can start to see small indentations in it for just how much we've used it, my husband and I, and how much the kids enjoy doing fun things with us too. So with that, I don't think you have to spend more than $20, $30 for a piece of foam of this length. You can find them cheaper for something shorter like this. You could probably find this for 12 bucks online and through different companies or at our office. That's just not something that you should have to pay an extreme amount for. So if you like it to look pretty and you want to spend that kind of money, by all means, but you can find them cheaper. And if you're not finding it, holler at us, because we do. So we can help you in that way too. Does not have to be an expensive venture. But again, this will last you a fair amount of time. I haven't had to replace my rollers in years. So we're going to get into a couple things we want to do with them. And the last thing I want to cover, we're going to talk about how we're using it when we're using it. I can foam roll my entire body in 5 minutes. And so I'm going to show you modified portions of that, and it's going to take us maybe 10 minutes to talk through it as I talk through the areas I'm doing. But a couple times a week is plenty. There's some recommendations that people say, well, can I use it every day? You can, but again, you're doing small areas for seconds at a time. When I roll over an area, I may go over an area 2 or 3 times in a passing, and that's it. I'm not hanging out and torturing myself on a spot. And it's not necessarily designed to do that. You can do more deep fascial work, myofascial work, and that is sitting on a roller longer, going really slow through different facets of the muscle tissue. That's different than what I'm going to show you today. And so that is something that I think you need to be at a certain place to be able to do, and certain level to be able to do. And sometimes it's really under some supervision to a degree of what the purpose is of why we're doing a longer, deeper roll. So too long can experience just some more aches and pains than you should, more bruising than you should. We want to roll over areas with lots of tissue to a degree, right? So we're not rolling over areas that have very little tissue between the skin and the bone. That's not comfortable on a roller. There's different ways for stretching and work to be done in those spots, but areas where we have mass, right? So into arms, our back, our lats, our legs, our hips and our glutes, our calves and our hamstrings. The IT band I will show you how to do, but that is more tendon. It is phenomenal with the roller, but it's not putting all of your body weight. So we want to be just delicate in when we're going with a roller and how much weight we're putting of our body onto the roller. Okay. So how often, I mean, I really say your foam rolling can be dependent, like we talk about with your adjustments. The frequency is many times determined by the intensity of what it is you're doing and how much you're doing it, right? So some people may roll every day, and some people to roll once or twice a week is plenty. So I think it really depends on where you're at in any rolling whatsoever. If you're consistent in it, then a lot of times less is more. You can really get a lot done in a short period of time and have that once you get things broken up and loosened up and that blood flow moving, it can stay that way for great periods of time. Again, depending on what it is you're doing in your day-to-day and week to week. So we're going to get into about 5 to 7 minutes of my favorite ones to do, or the ones that I never skip. And they're just bigger global ones that target the spine and all the erector muscles that are your posture muscles holding you upright all day long, whether you're standing or sitting. The key ones for the hips and the glutes and the legs. The key one that's my favorite for rotator, like armpit, shoulder stuff. And then ending with IT band, if I didn't already say that. So those are going to be the ones we're going to do. I'm going to pull my mop out of the way so you can see what I'm doing when I do it. And a little goes a long way. So again, I can roll most of my body with everything I'm going to show you today, plus about 2 or 3 other things, in under 10 minutes. So if we're after just getting some release of pressure, release of adhesions, some blood flow, and again, just loosening up fascia, this is my favorite way to do it. Again, because it takes very little time, it takes very little equipment, and you can do it in almost any space that you have. So I'm going to move the camera down a little bit, hopefully, so that you're seeing me more on the floor and hopefully still hearing me. So when doing the legs, it's more about how you place your weight. So my favorite is to just start sitting on it. And when you have more tissue, you can put more weight upon it. So it doesn't bother me at all to sit completely with all my body weight on the foam roller when I'm doing my glutes, my hips, the back of my legs. And our legs aren't as heavy as we may think. So a lot of times my tip and trick to getting more pressure on the roller is to cross your legs so that you're adding the weight of this leg onto this leg that you're rolling. So when I'm doing my hips, and this might be better facing, I am rolling and putting weight on my feet and the weight of my upper body on my arms and I'm rolling through the glutes. And so not all my body weight is on the roller, but a fair amount of it is. And you listen to your body. So you're rolling through the hip, and then you're gonna switch sides. So you're gonna tilt the other way and roll through your hips. And as you notice, I'm just doing 3 or 4 times each way at the most. Okay, so if I was tipping towards you, if that's easier to see, I'm gonna just tip one side and then the other. Okay, then when I'm doing the backs of the legs, the hamstrings and the calves that get so tight, bring myself back up, all of my weight's on it, and I'm just gonna roll through. Now my tip and trick for here to get all the different parts of the 3 different hamstrings and the 4 different quads on the front of the leg is turning your toes. So if your toes are pointed straight up, you're really just getting the center of the muscle belly. And so you're just gonna walk yourself back and forth, and I'm gonna go out of view a little bit here, but I'm gonna go all the way down to my ankles. And then as I come back up, I'm really just bringing myself along, but all the weight of my legs is on the roller. Then to add more weight, if you don't feel like that gives you much, then cross one leg over the other. And then that's adding double the weight on that bottom leg. Okay, now you're gonna go from here all the way to the ankle. Then the next trick is taking the toes out and then pointing them in. When you do that, you're gonna hit different parts of the outer thigh and the inner thigh. So when I point my toes out, I'm getting more of this outer thigh, and I would roll back and forth. When I point my toes in, I'm getting more of that inner thigh and inner calf and parts of those adductors, which are the muscles that squeeze are like together, if you will, and are connecting at the knee and at the inside of the hip. So those are great ones to roll and get the edges of by pointing the toes in, okay? If we want to then be fair and do the front of our legs so we get both sides of our body, then I come on to all fours, and then I rest my weight on my elbows and on my feet. And I come right onto my hips. For women, you could come onto the front of your hip. Turn this way, okay? For men, you're not gonna go this high, right? Because of anatomy. And so you can start obviously more at the top of your leg here and roll down to above the knee. For women, we can roll further up with the roller straight and come all the way up to the top of our hips, so right at our belly button, and get a little bit of that psoas muscle right there that we dig in on when we're getting adjusted, and we're checking in on how your hip opens up right here, right? So when we're checking that motion and having you straighten and bend the leg, this you can do a little bit with the foam roller right at this front part here for, again, when there's no anatomy there in the way. So I'm going all the way up to my belly button, and then I'm just army crawling all the way down to above my knee. And again, I am pointing my toes in and then out, and that gets different parts of those leg muscles in the quadriceps, right? So here versus here versus here, okay? Then IT bands. This is where a lot of those adhesions lie in our hips and the connection between these muscles and these muscles on the front and back. So this one can look a little tricky, I guess, when you to try to maneuver yourself, but once you get it, you get it. And there's not a lot of weight we're placing on the side of the body. So most of my weight is up here in my arm and shoulder, and then at my feet. So this front top leg is just going to stay bent. The bottom leg that I'm rolling is going to go straight. I'm going to come up onto the hip here, and then I'm going to come down onto my elbow. So again, only part of my midsection weight is on this roller. The rest is here and here, okay, on my stabilizing leg. So I'm going to just roll till I hit the notch on my knee. So I'm going from the very top of my hip where you're going to put your hands. When you put your hands on your hip, you're going all the way to there. When you come back and roll all the way, walk yourself down like this, you're going to go all the way to get to the side of the knee, all the way to this notch right here. Now I'm coming up into my wall, so I can't go any further here in this room, but I'm going from there all the way to there. And again, going up and down about 3 times. And I just keep moving. You're gonna feel where spots are more tender and some that aren't. Just feel them, sit there for a second at the most, and keep moving through them. This is not to torture yourself. This is just to break up adhesions, get muscle and tendons loose and moving, get blood flow going, and get more flexibility. So don't sit on a spot for very long. It's not meant for that in the way I'm showing you. It's more to get motion and movement, and you don't need to hang out there for long. The last one I'm going to show you is one that is my ultimate favorite for the spine and the spinal muscles. And that is when you hear us talk about using it for the upper back and mid back. Now you can do it this direction where you're going to just rest about where your rib cage starts. And then your weight is here, and you're going to lift up if you feel like you can put a little bit more pressure onto the spine, and just roll up to the tops of your shoulders. And then you're going to roll back to that end of your rib cage and back. What's great is taking the arms in different positions, and you'll start feeling things in different areas of your shoulder blade. Or up above your head and back down. Down at your side. And moving those different directions, you're going to get different releases through the shoulders, through the erector muscles along the spine, through things up here near your trap, through things down here kind of through your lats and your armpit, okay? So the last one I'll show you that has to do with the spine, and these are again the ones that I never skip if I've just got to do a bunch of big muscles as fast as I can in a short amount of time, is the ones I just showed you for the lower body and the legs, this direction for this part of your along your back, and now this part for your spinal muscles. So I'm going to turn so you can see what it is I'm doing when I'm laying down. And it's that you're going to lay and you're going to go left and right, left and right, left and right, okay? So you're going along your spine and getting the stuff to the left and to the right of the muscle tissues of the spine in between the shoulder blades. So I'm gonna lay facing away from you so you can hopefully see better what I'm doing. With these long ones, then you have some place for your tush and the other end for your head, and you're not having to hold anything up while you do this. It's great. So the motion is here and here, here and here. And again, you can move the arms if you would like different feeling through that shoulder. And I just widen my stance a little bit so I can balance myself. But at first, just start with your hands on the ground so you can just help yourself go left and right. And when your knees are bent and your feet are on the floor, that will keep your low back onto the cushion more, onto the roller more, excuse me, as well as your head and your shoulders and your tush. So you don't feel like you're putting any amount of pressure in one place more than another, okay? So those are my favorite tips for how to use the roller on the big muscle bellies of your body and of your spine and of all those core muscles that support you all day long to do the things you love to do. So thank you for joining us. I hope you got some good tips from that. And if nothing else, got some information as to why we roll. And if you have questions about how to, we have a lot of different pictures in the office that can be helpful to start. And then again, 3 or 4 other videos. If you just go to our YouTube channel and search foam rolling, they will pop up. And I look forward to your takeaways on the YouTube channel and in the office at the education station, so we can learn what you're getting out of this and how we can best support you. Because this is all about your self-care and how you can be doing things that don't require someone else to help, and that give you the ability to do lots of good mobility motions for your own spine and structure and muscles at home with very little equipment needed and very little cost. Just the consistency of doing it. So I look forward to seeing what it is you learned from this one, and look forward to what you would like to see next time. I'm up for whatever it is you guys want to learn about. So please please comment about that in the office so that we can bring you education that best serves you. Till next time, we will see you at next week's workshop, and the recording will be sent out to you as soon as it's finished. Look forward to seeing you in the office. Bye-bye.